You might be listening to this at a moment when something inside you feels tired. Not dramatically broken, not in a state of crisis, just tired. Tired of going in circles. Maybe you feel like you understand yourself so much better than you used to. You can finally name your patterns. You can articulate exactly what's happening inside you when you get triggered. And yet, despite all this understanding, the same reactions keep showing up. The same old habits return. The same inner tension, that familiar tightness in your chest or knot in your stomach, appears again, often when you least expect it. If that sounds familiar, I want you to hear this loud and clear. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. This moment, this feeling of being stuck despite your progress, does not mean you have failed. It doesn't mean all the work you've done was for nothing. It simply means you have reached a deeper, more subtle layer of the process. You see, there is a profound difference between understanding something intellectually and truly living from that understanding. Understanding can arrive in a flash. It can be a sentence you read in a book, a sudden realization during a quiet walk, or a moment of clarity in a conversation where everything just clicks into place. It feels amazing, like a light has been switched on in a dark room. But living from that understanding, that's a different journey altogether. It doesn't happen in a flash. It unfolds slowly through the messy, ordinary days of your life. It has to navigate moments of high stress, periods of deep fatigue, the constant pull of distraction, and the simple, grinding reality of everyday responsibilities. You don't live your life inside a perfectly curated, quiet space of profound insights. You live inside routines, relationships, financial pressures, and a whole spectrum of human emotions. And those parts of you, the ones that have been running on autopilot for years, they don't change all at once just because you had a breakthrough. So, when an old familiar reaction returns, maybe you snap at a loved one, or procrastinate on something important, or fall back into a pattern of self-criticism, it does not mean your insight has vanished. It doesn't mean the understanding was false. It just means that the new awareness hasn't settled deeply enough into your nervous system to guide you automatically, especially when you're under pressure. This is the exact point where so many people become deeply discouraged. The inner critic gets loud. You might hear a voice saying things like, "I should be past this by now," or, "I already understood this, why am I still here?" Or, "What is the point of all this work if I just keep ending up in the same place?" But this stage is not a regression. You are not going backward. This is the crucial moment where your hard-won understanding begins to ask something new of you. Patience. And I don't mean a passive sit-back-and-wait kind of patience. I mean an active, courageous patience. The patience to return to yourself. The patience to notice what just happened without drowning in self-judgment. The patience to recognize the old pattern as it plays out, without collapsing into the despair of it. The patience to gently remind yourself of what you know to be true, of who you want to be even after the reactive moment has already passed. And just doing that is enough. That is the work. You are not being asked to magically transform everything about yourself overnight. You are not being asked to be a perfect model of consistency, never making a mistake. You are simply being asked to return, again, and again, and again. Each time you return, each time you notice the old habit, and choose, even for a second, to offer yourself a little compassion instead of criticism, you are doing something profound. You are allowing that intellectual understanding to sink a little deeper, not just into the world of ideas in your head, but into the felt reality of your body, into the small choices you make, into the way you carry yourself through the day. Over time, something quiet and powerful begins to shift. The gap between knowing what to do and actually living it starts to narrow. And here is the beautiful paradox. It narrows not because you are trying harder or forcing yourself to be better, but because you are demanding less perfection from yourself. You stop expecting every single insight to be an instant, life-altering transformation. Instead, you trust it to slowly, gently, reorganize your life from the inside out. This is how real integration happens. It's not through force. It's not through pressure or shame. It is through presence. It is through the simple, radical act of staying with yourself, of being on your own side, especially when things aren't changing as fast as you'd like. The struggle you feel right now, that tension between your awareness and your actions, is not an obstacle to your growth. It is the very space where growth is happening. It's the fertile ground where understanding is becoming wisdom. It's where your knowledge is being forged into embodied experience. So, if you are here, in this place, feeling that you understand so much and yet are still learning how to live it, you are not late. You are not stuck. You are not failing. You are precisely where the deep, lasting work of integration begins. You are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to be messy. You are allowed to return to yourself 1,000 times if needed. And this moment, right now, as you listen to these words and feel them resonate within you, this is already part of the work. This is the return. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this resonated, consider subscribing for more reflections on the journey of growth. Be gentle with yourself.